To be honest, the way people feel about crypto now is very different from how they felt at the start of the month or even in November. We know that the mood was at an all-time high in November, right before the month started. Everyone was thrilled, everyone was glad. Things are getting really dull on the market right now, and some old coins are taking a beating. We can now see that the mood has totally changed. I also think it's very clear if you look at the timeline on X, the comments on YouTube, the activity, and the fear and greed index. This video is going to be long. We clearly have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to give you guys some information on XRP. Okay, now sit back and take it easy. Also, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. If this video is your first time on the channel, I hope you decide to join by the end. Let's talk about it. To begin, let us look at Bitcoin. It was easy to see that trade volume has dropped a lot on almost the whole market. It's not just Bitcoin, it's not just XRP. We can see how big the volume downtrend and even the market downtrend are by looking at the market cap indicator. This is something we've been noticing for about 3 weeks now. It's been a rough 3 weeks, Even going back to the middle of the month. That is easy to see. This is when the value of all crypto on the market almost reached $4 trillion. But by this time, the market was already starting to sell off a lot of old coins. This is also true for the old coin season measure, which puts us at about 46 out of 100. A lot of people will say, but we've already hit the old season index up here. That means that old season took place. Not at all. I think there's a false kind of It's like they're painting a fake picture of everything. A lot of people on X are saying things like, okay, the top is in. That was our old season. But a lot of the people who say that old season has already happened seem like they are either new to the cycle or don't. You know how it works or what old season looks like. Bitcoin hasn't lost 50% of its market share yet, which is something we'll talk about. But the important thing is that, yes, traffic is going down. That seems very clear to me. Yes, there are sell-offs going on right now, but I want everyone to zoom out so we can see the macro view better. It doesn't look bad at all when you zoom out. A lot of people post these everyday charts of XRP that look like this one. And some people are beginning to enjoy fear a little more. This doesn't mean anything. Looking at the whole month, we've just been going down. We've been, holding steady in a downward trend. I want you all to understand this. This is a good sign for prices. This isn't some kind of downward price action where we can look at XRP and say, okay, that's it. It's finished. The top is off. This is a good sign for prices. I think this says a lot when we look at the fear and greed measure right now in this space. We're back to the exact amounts we were trading at around the 4th of November, which was the start of November. If that date doesn't mean much to you, right? What does that mean? Let's look at the chart over here and go back to November 4th on the total crypto market cap chart. When the price of the stock was about 2.18 trillion. It was about 2.18 to 2.3, I think. We made a 71% move to the upside, which raised the total value of all cryptocurrencies by $1.59 trillion. This will happen in about a month. It's been a little more than a month, not quite a month and a half. I think that's crazy. That's why we zoom out though, okay? It doesn't look like this price movement that everyone is so scared about is very important. Right now, we're just cutting in a box up here where we expect a big move. Even if someone tells you what's going to happen next, until there is a big move either up or down, whatever happens, I think prices will go up, but anything is possible. The market will be very dull until we see any of those moves, though. The same is true for Bitcoin, too. But what interests me right now is that we're dealing for more than $3.2 trillion. And I don't think I need to tell you that that is still higher than the all-time high from 21. I find that very interesting. Why? We're trading at all-time highs going all the way back to 21, even though the market is still going down. The craziest thing about this is that the fear and greed measure has been reset to neutral, even though Bitcoin is still worth over $90,000 and XRP is still worth over $2. Based on how prices have been moving lately, interest in crypto is pretty much at an all-time low. But I also think that interest in the space as a whole has gone down a lot, and I think that's very clear when we look at Google Trends. If we look at Google Trends, we can see that the number of searches for crypto has dropped quickly over the last year. If you look at this over the last 5 years, you can still see that we haven't reached the peak of this. Coin also works the same way. Over the last year, this has been slowly dying down. You can see this again from the last 5 years. Another thing is that XRP has had a huge rise in value over the last 5 years. We did reach a high point, but now we're back to about where we were when we realized XRP is not a security in 2023. What does this mean? In this case, it means that people are no longer interested in this place. We haven't reached euphoria yet because it does take some time to understand this. Really, I believe that if we go back to 2021, we might be here, right? Right after that nice spike up, we sold off and chopped around a bit. The next big move was when euphoria really hit the market. And I expect that to happen here soon. Again, my best guess is the first quarter of 2025. But we need to be patient because the price movement right now doesn't show us that something is wrong. That's very clear to me, even on the XRP chart. In this long wedge shape, XRP is where it is right now. We've been in this gap for a while now. That's what you'd expect since people are getting restless. On December 3rd, we did reach the top of that upper trend line. We've had no change in prices for about 26 days. Keep that in mind. Now I'm going to show you what happened from July 2023 to the present, when in fact XRP had been trading in a narrow range for more than 480 days. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that this has nothing to do with merging. Right now we're in a nice bowl. Very much like the has two wedges, but this one is longer, and just like in my video from last night, I expect prices to go up a lot when this wedge breaks. We're either waiting for a big break above the upper trend line, which would test it, turn it into support, and then let it go, or we're waiting for this to go down. Long as XRP is still going up, we shouldn't lose that bottom trend line. We need to stay above $2. We shouldn't go below $2 until we know what the top is. That is why I think we will break to the upside. We need to pay close attention. As well as being careful, we need to be patient, right? This bottom trend line is likely to be tested again, so we need to be careful. However, we shouldn't wick below $2. We should keep the cash. We should actually keep this trend going, which can be seen on the chart, a nice low followed by a higher low. It looks like the next higher low will be around $2. We need to keep that pattern. If that pattern goes away, I will be very bearish on XRP in the short term because it means that the decline on this chart will go much deeper. But I'm keeping an eye on this block to make sure it stays in place. As I said in last night's video, the next goal on this board should be $4 or more if we keep this up. Now that we think about it, we should also look at Bitcoin. Like I said, I have no idea when this happened. From what I can remember, it was when we were trading down at first. Because of the negative fair value gap, I did say that this level is not bullish if we do reach it. This is actually bad news. The fair value gap is going the wrong way. These are usually goals for falling prices. You can see that we were into it. We didn't get above $100,000 and we sold right away. We're now back in the area with the most demand, which could let us trade a little lower. In that case, XRP could fall back to $2 and try that trend line again. This would make a lot of people want to sell their shares in the space. Right now, is there something on this chart that I should really be looking out for? As things stand, we don't want to lose the previous support zone, which is around this $92,000 level. We need to keep that level. If anything, we want to wick down to that level, but we don't want to close below that every day. This is what I'm keeping an eye on with Bitcoin. But besides Bitcoin, I've been keeping an eye on its rise, and the good news for people who still hold old coins, we are still printing structure that is macro bearish. This high point comes after this lower high point. Should we make a lower low on the macro view? That's the big question now. That would be less than 54%, which is also a drop in Bitcoin's market share of more than 6%. This will be enough to send altcoins much higher. The best thing about this is that Bitcoin is only going to drop a little, right? If Bitcoin is going to chop while Bitcoin control breaks down on this chart, it doesn't really matter. It could go to my demand zone before it chops a little and then keep going. We're only expecting Bitcoin to lose its lead, and if that happens while Bitcoin either chops sideways or has a big breakout to the upside, then altcoins are about to steal the show because they are going to pump hard. At this very moment, I am also keeping an eye on Bitcoin pairs. On this chart, XRP has changed nothing at all.